Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Views and News, and I'm Faisal Rahman live from our Islamabad studios. As we all know, that the 5-day multinational naval exercise Aman 2017 has started today in the North Arabian Sea. Pakistan is the host, and other than Pakistan, there are 36 countries which are participating. And in those 36 countries, in technical terms, it is said that 9 of them, they have brought in their assets. So what exactly is that supposed to mean? We'll also tell you in our today's program. This drill is going to be for 5 days, and this started in 2007. This was an initiative of Pakistan together for peace. Now this time they are there to tackle maritime terrorism, drug trafficking and piracy. Primarily 9 of those countries, which include China, Russia, Turkey, UK, as well as USA, they'll be bringing in their assets. So they'll be using their own ships and all sorts of technical equipment as well. Whereas Pakistan, we have also learned that they'll be engaging in a very high level. They'll be using their own helicopters, most probably Sea Kings and Albets, as well as their planes which fly over and which can detect various submarines from the air, and also the ships, including the destroyers and all. What sort of maritime security challenges do we have in the Arabian Sea? That is going to be obviously a very important question in today's program. The geopolitical dimension of maritime security, how important is that? I still remember one of our guests who is present in the studio once told me that Pakistan technically doesn't have 4 provinces, it has 5 provinces, and that sea is one of the province. Whatever is there, whether it's about oil or about other precious metals, or you talk about any sorts of energy resources, and even the fish or the food products which is available there, the fisheries, that is also the property of Pakistan. So why don't we utilize that to the maximum level? That is again going to be another question in our today's program. Primarily, Pakistan has fully committed to enduring lawful maritime order. This was stated by the Prime Minister. And the naval chief was there as well, and those ships which came to Pakistan to be a part of this naval exercise were very warmly received. National anthems were played, and again, as I said, that this is the first time that naval exercise at that magnitude, at that level, is taking place in this particular region, where we are honoured to be the host. Let me introduce you to our panelists. On my right is Vice Admiral Iftikhar Saab, a senior naval officer, so thank you very much. We also have with us Rear Admiral Saleem Akhtar Saab, so thank you very much. And on Skype, we'll be joined in by Commodore retired UbaidUllah Saab from Karachi. So thank you very much, sir, for joining us, Commodore retired UbaidUllah Saab. Let me start off from you, sir. First of all, sir, obviously we do understand that Navy is really important, and the kind of exercise we are talking about in our today's program, and that's huge. You're talking about 36 countries other than Pakistan participating. If I may ask you, sir, was in history, ever in history in this particular region, 36 or 37 countries have ever participated in an exercise of that size, sir?
Okay, let me tell you from the background that how it started and why it has reached to this level now. See, at sea, the maritime security, as you mentioned, is very important because most of the international trade is through sea. More than 90% of the trade is through the sea, one sea or the other. So to maintain a conducive environment out at sea is essential for the international trade or for the trade of any other country. So and no one country, including the superpower or whatever, has the resources required to maintain the peace and conducive environment throughout the sea. It is not possible. So the regional countries or those countries and navies which have stakes in the international trade, they have to join hands together, and only then it can be maintained. One example is like of Somalia.
Is there any treaties signed among these countries, sir?
No, there is no treaty. This is not treaty. These are the collaboration between the various countries, friendly countries, so that they can join hands together and provide this security. You can, as I was telling you the background, that like in Somalia, there was there was such a piracy environment that the international trade was jeopardized. Then the countries came together, and Pakistan Navy was one of the initial members of that. This is a UN-mandated task force 151. And once they started operating,
And whose initiative was it, sir?
this was UN mandated.
Okay, United Nations.
United Nations. So, and then other navies also started operating, and the result is, because of this concerted joint effort, now of Somalia, the piracy has almost finished. It has not finished from the world, it has shifted elsewhere, but at least wherever this effort was, it is finished now.
So this route, when you talk about the Arabian Sea all the way to the Gulf of Aden, if I'm not wrong,
Yeah,
right, sir?
yeah.
That's clear now?
Yes, it's clear. And there is still patrolling and this task force is working. But what I'm saying is this incidents of the piracy have almost finished. So, but the visual is there and the ships, etc., they are also. What I'm saying is that it has to be done jointly. So prior to that, in the Gulf of Oman and this region, because of the terrorism and other problems, again United Nations mandated there was a task force 150, and that is what Pakistan Navy joined in 2004. And Pakistan Navy is the only regional navy which is part of task force 150 and 151. And the other navies are all the big navies that you named, all of them are there, and it is UN mandated, and it is still performing in the task force 150 in Gulf of Oman and 151 of Somalia and Gulf of Aden, etc. And Pakistan Navy is regularly participating. In fact, it is the maximum participation over there. And Pakistan Navy has commanded these task force many times, almost 8-9 times each. And to command these international navies of the so-called superpower navy and all the big power navies, all have been commanded by Pakistan. The entire task force have been commanded so many times. So that speaks of the Pakistan Navy's stature in this international arena.
Especially the level of engagement.
Level of engagement over there. And it, because of this engagement with all this, and when they developed this confidence, and let me tell you, then first time when it came that we should also be given the command of the task force, although we had joined, there was some reluctance from some of the big navies that whether they will be able to do it or not, and it is too big a task, etc. But once we did it, and now they are so happy that I just now told you that we have already commanded 8-9 times, and it is a routine. So the confidence level of the entire maritime nations in the Pakistan Navy's competence increased tremendously. And then Pakistan Navy took the initiative in 2007 to start this Aman exercise, or the multinational exercise in Karachi. And in 2007, you remember the conditions or the environment of Karachi, the various activities, terrorist activities, and all the other law and order situation. But despite that, these navies, because of their relationship with the Pakistan Navy, in those situations also, they came to Karachi, they participated in these exercises, seminar, and also to create the soft image of Pakistan. There were friendly sports matches are conducted, food gala is conducted, and so many other things.
So there's a lot of interaction which takes place.
between
So that's a very positive sign. So when we talk about exercise, normally the first thing which comes in our mind is primarily a joint military exercise, that there's going to be a show of power, and missiles would be fired, or some certain task would be there, commandos would be involved. So how different is this particular exercise than that, sir?
It's not actually a show of power or something. It's basically when these navies get together, it's like you enhance the interoperability. That means you are able to communicate with each other, like you have now Chinese Navy, you have the Russian Navy, you have the US Navy, all the big navies are there.
Oh, yes. UK.
UK and all other, like 37 countries. These are the maximum numbers ever participated in Aman exercise. And actually, to say that, I mean, this is perhaps, when we talk of objectives, the first objective that has been achieved, that India has been trying to isolate Pakistan, has been claiming a lot about that. And just see over here, 37 countries have shown their trust, and they have joined this exercise. And as a matter of fact, it is India which is now isolated and not Pakistan. So that is something.
But sir, if India would have said that, okay, we want, because this is something which is important in a way that these are the common problems everybody is facing. So do you think that if Pakistan should have invited, or did we invite them, or they rejected, or what exactly is the status in that regard?
These are exercises which are mutual understanding.
If they wanted to join in,
our status with India, so it's better that we leave it over there.
But when you see China and Russia and USA, working together, for a joint cause?
Yeah, that you will not have heard that before, as you mentioned
That's
in
what
your
I'm saying.
earlier remarks, that perhaps I don't recall really with the Russians and the
Russia,
Chinese and
Chinese,
the
UK and
American,
USA.
US Navy and all these are operating together. When used to said there is actually a harbor phase and then there is a sea phase of this exercise. Coming to your original question, and so in the harbor phase we have flag hoisting, we get together, we exchange views, then we have visit each other's ships and some other activities, social activities, as the Admiral mentioned, and we have all other exchanges that goes on. That's harbor phase of it. Then we have International Maritime Conference. This conference is on the sidelines conducted by Naval Center for Maritime Policy Research at Bahria University, Karachi.
Okay.
And so that is one aspect. Then you have the sea phase, and the sea phase then you have various exercises that goes on, like replenishment. How do you two ships come together and they replenish cargo? This is all interoperability, that how do you actually put it to practice. Similarly, then there are other drills that are carried out, depth charge firings and other small arms firing also take place, but it's mutually how collectively you can operate and communicate with each other.
So when you talk about communication, before I go to Karachi, please tell me, for example, there was this plane crash in India. The Saudi airliner 747 took off, and it was so unfortunate that it hit a Russian cargo plane, which was coming to India, and one of the C-130s actually saw that collision in the air. And primarily when the investigation took place, they in fact blamed the Russians that there was some miscommunication because they couldn't, because of the language problem, language barriers. Out here when you're talking about Chinese or the Russians or the Americans for that matter, don't you think that becomes a problem, that becomes a hassle, sir?
So that
how do they manage that?
That is the biggest advantage, of these exercises. How do you operate collectively? And that is where you devise a different, what you call that, how do you develop responses, how do you the tactics, the techniques, the procedures that will be adopted to counter these like unconventional threats that emerge. So they are dealing this collectively. And that is the biggest advantage of this exercise.
I'm sure. Yeah. But sir, let me go to Karachi, where we have with us Commodore retired UbaidUllah. Sir, first of all, please do tell our viewers that what is the benefit that Pakistan is going to get out of this particular exercise?
Thank you very much, Faisal. This is a very good question because I think we have talked enough on guns, missiles, and exercises. Let's see what is the cumulative effect that is desired from the planner's point of view. And in this case, the planners are Pakistan Navy, or should I say Pakistan. In this environment that in the last 2 decades, there have been so many wars and is still going on, which are killing people, which are not creating peace at all. In this kind of situation, which persisting, particularly in the last 10 years, Pakistan took this initiative with the cue of UN mandate to start these exercises. Now, a little bit about this exercises constituents, the ingredients. As the Admiral said, and you very rightly said in your intro, there are 37 countries, including Pakistan. If you come to look at it, that these countries represent 6 out of 7 continents of the world. And all the 5 permanent members of United Nations, that is China, USA, UK, France, and Russia.
Yes.
They are participating. And when you come to look at it, that's 6 out of 7 world nuclear powers. They are here. And then the cumulative thing is that these many countries of the world coming from thousands of miles have reposed confidence in Pakistan.
Yes.
That it is the Pakistan and Pakistan Navy that can conduct such a multi-directional, multinational exercise without any problem. We are really honored as Pakistanis to host these countries and give a message abroad, which is not only a positive message, what message goes in the world is that this is a nation which is nuclear powered, competent, and they can conduct such level of exercises. Now, what eventually will it bring us to? It not only sends a positive message abroad, it also exhibits our power. That is diplomatic power, that is that is economic power and political power. The economic and political influence and power is decimated through such action at the world level,
That's correct.
and that helps in changing the mind of people, particularly in the region, that this exercise is not meant to show off force, it is meant for a common purpose, peace together. So, what really happens that when you get this diplomatic or political power and influence, you automatically project your military power with a view of deterrence, not with a view of really scaring anybody. This ensures positivity, peace in the region in particular, and peace in the world in general. Now, this also brings us a lot of opportunities indirectly to work together in time of peace for search and rescue, for helping each other in protecting the areas of interest of the world, the sea highways. Lot of people do not have the clarity that 95% of the total trade plays on the surface of the sea.
Correct.
And these have to be kept free for all, for navigation altogether. That is the reason that the navies of the world mostly operate in international water. They can collaborate, they can cooperate, and send the message of peace for everybody. Now, the opportunity past also comes into play, the joint venture construction of vessels, construction of various other things. For example, at this particular time, Karachi shipyard is making the biggest warship of history of Pakistan. This is the largest ship being constructed in Karachi shipyard with the help of Turkish friends. At the same time, with the help and coordination of Chinese friend, we have already made guided missile frigate, guided missile boat, and very recently we have laid a keel for 1600 ton of a large ship for Pakistan Maritime Security Agency. So these are those invaluable cumulative effect in political terms, in diplomatic terms, and also in substantial commercial terms of joint venture by making all these vessels. So this is far more than really getting together. Getting together is a mandatory part that removes misunderstanding between navies and countries. If the misunderstandings are
Yes.
removed before we get to a situation when we start declaring each other as unfriendly or unfriendly act, this communication really brings us together.
All right.
Imagine, as the Admiral Saleem Akhtar said, that Iran, America, China, Russia, and USA all on the same table for planning of the exercise. Could you ever think of otherwise? It is not possible.
I think Pakistan has done a brilliant job in that regard to bring all these countries
yes,
together. But sir, let me get back to Rao Saab here. Sir, Pakistan has always played, will play, and they've ensured that they'll continue to make sure that safe passage should be there for the cargo ship. And earlier mentioned by Comrade Saab that 95% of the trade takes place. And when you look at this particular route, whether you talk about the trade look at it as a trade route or as an oil trade route, that is really important. Strait of Hormuz has its own importance. Arabian Sea has its own importance. When you talk about this string of pearls, I mean, it is equally important. But sir, for some very unfortunate reason, one of the country which is missing in this entire exercise is India. Being a nuclear power, having such a huge navy, and they really want to have that hegemonic design and as far as the Indian Ocean is concerned. What sort of a message this particular exercise is going to give to the Indians, sir? We'll take the answer. We'll just take a short break for that, sir, and then we'll continue our discussion. Let's have a break here.
than 35 participants countries with ships, aircrafts, helicopters, special operations forces, marines and observers. With one mission of peace, Pakistan Navy takes pride in hosting 5th multinational exercise, 2017, from 10th to 14th February 2017 at Karachi. 2017, Together for Peace. Pakistan Navy. Play of passion, demonstration of resolve, with more than 35 navies to fight back terrorism, traditional threats and crimes in maritime domain. Pakistan Navy is hosting 5th multinational exercise, 2017, from 10th to 14th February 2017 at North Arabian Sea. 2017, Together for Peace. Pakistan Navy.
Welcome back after the break. Now, sir, the point which we were earlier discussing before we took the break, sir.
Before talking about India, India actually has to realize that Pakistan cannot be isolated. Pakistan, they cannot wish away Pakistan. Pakistan is a very important country of this
This is a
region.
clear-cut message for them.
This is a message, they, in the hearts and hearts, they know it, that they can't wish away Pakistan. Pakistan is an important country of the region. Its geopolitical position, location is such that they can't do anything without Pakistan. They were interconnecting with the China, the Central Asian republics and the Gulf countries.
Correct.
And all that. This is just not possible without Pakistan. So earlier they realized this thing in a positive term and get closer to Pakistan, resolve the issues and join hands together to develop their economy and uplift the condition of their people, the better it is. But unfortunately, they have always been thinking negative, and still we don't see any change. In fact,
In their attitude, yes.
they have gone even more strong in their steps to
And the rigidity.
trying to harm Pakistan. So if they continue to do that, they will lose out, like they have lost out in this one also, that they thought that Pakistan will be isolated. It's not possible to isolate Pakistan. So even more important, this exercise now becomes because of the CPEC.
Okay.
Now, the CPEC is a game changer for Pakistan. There is no doubt about it. Now, CPEC, what is the importance of CPEC? It is the sea part. You see, CPEC...
Gawadar onwards.
Gawadar onwards. What is the importance of Gawadar? Because it is a port, it is at sea. So, CPEC without the sea is just the KKH extension. So, it makes CPEC the international game changer because of its connectivity to the sea. And now that sea, because that sea will become so important, so we have to ensure that a positive, conducive economic environment is there for all this maritime economic activity to go on smoothly. To do that...
And all these countries will be a part of it?
No.
And later on, maybe more countries may join in?
No. This is, all these countries have not joined to secure our sea.
What I'm not, this is not what I'm saying.
uh.
I'm talking about the region in general,
So
sir.
this is the kind of message that goes around.
Like
that
the way we give or send our troops to United Nations to serve in various countries. Though maybe we do not have a direct conflict with that particular country, but you know, you send your troops.
But this kind of exercise basically creates an environment. But otherwise, defense of this area or to provide continuous conducive environment in this area of offshore of the Gwadar and the approaches to Gwadar, and not only approaches to Gwadar, as you mentioned in your intro about the exclusive economic zone, which we had discussed a long time earlier also.
remember, sir.
So this exclusive economic zone, which used to be 245,000 square kilometers of ours, which I mentioned last time to you, it is the 5th province. Now, because of Pakistan Navy's efforts in collaboration with NIU and Ministry of Science and Technology, Pakistan is the first regional, this region's country whose claim has been accepted by the United Nations for extension of its exclusive economic zone because of the extension of the continental shelf.
Okay.
And now 50,000 square kilometers have been added. 50,000
Additional, in addition to what we earlier had.
additional. Now it is 295,000 square kilometers. Now, all this region, as you mentioned in intro also, the economic activity in this region is the only, Pakistan is the only country which can do this as per the international law. So, now we have to protect
This is
that.
our sea.
This is our sea, this is our province.
This is how you demarcate. Right?
Yeah, demarcated, this is our province. We have to protect this, and then eventually we have to exploit all this.
All
so,
right.
to do all this, CPEC and exclusive economic zone combined, now this is a very, very big opportunity that is being created for Pakistan, and to actually maintain peace and conducive environment for all this maritime economic activity to go on. Pakistan Navy and MSA, Maritime
Because
Security
there are
Agency,
certain issues which are,
they have to do
which are common for all these countries. Human trafficking, drug trafficking, sir, and obviously terrorism in the region, and then hijacking of these ships, and then, you know, those hijackers or the pirates, as we call them, asking for ransom. This happened once when one of our ship went missing, and then there was another Indian, and obviously so on and so forth. So I think that is a great initiative. Now, sir, Admiral Saab, another very important point. Now, you talk about Gidani, one of the largest shipbreaking industry in the world, not in the region, sir. Unfortunately, there are a lot of incidents taking place these days, but the potential is there. The potential is there. Earlier, Commander Saab was talking about the Karachi shipyard and its history. Gwadar, as earlier mentioned. Now, these three are really, really important, not only for Pakistan, but I think for the entire region. What sort of a potential do you see, sir, in these three places as far as economic activity is concerned, or naval strength is concerned, sir?
Well, I think on the coast of Pakistan, we have 1,000 kilometers of coastline, and as rightly mentioned, we have not been able to exploit the true potential of the exclusive economic zone. Now, apart from that, this exercise, when these navies, they come across, we talk to each other, we create better understanding, we know each other's capabilities. Shipbuilding is one area, as Commander Ubaid mentioned, where we can cooperate with these regional navies which are coming over here and participating. Pakistan Navy...
Even repair, for that
yeah,
matter.
repair, of course. With the CPEC coming in, actually you will have to develop Gwadar. As not only this, you have to carry out maintenance, repair of those ships which will be calling on this.
How far is Gidani from Gwadar, sir? What is the distance? Normally, how long does it take?
More than 400 some kilometers, more than that even. Because 300 something is Ormara, and then we have another.
Further.
Yeah. So basically, Gidani is shipbreaking. It used to be the world first, the largest shipbreaking industry. Then it went into doldrums. Now it has come back alive. And then again, the recent things that are taking place over there, which is not very good, where you have the explosion and dying. But the fact is that will remain. And then we have a potential of growing. But I think Karachi shipyard, because Pakistan Navy is basing its development in the development strategy of the Pakistan Navy, indigenization is the main focus. So what we are doing is, whenever we have contracted for construction of ships, submarines or whatever, we have included an element of transfer of technology. When we have constructed the Gusta 90B submarines, the third submarine was made in PN Dockyard. And as Commander Ubaid mentioned, at this time at Karachi shipyard, we have an oil tanker which is being built. We have a ship at the frigate which was built over there, totally in Pakistan.
It is a totally indigenous initiative, sir?
Yeah, it's not totally indigenous in the terms of that while we construct under this, in collaboration with our Chinese friend or the Turkish friend, then there is a transfer of technology. Okay. So what we try to do is, the indigenous element comes into it is, Once, of course, you take all those techniques and then you try to apply in subsequent platforms. Similarly, we had the fast track craft. Now, one is being built now, but the fourth one which will be built will be not only built at Karachi shipyard, it will be totally designed indigenously by our engineers. And that's a very big
Pakistan,
breakthrough.
Marshal, has acquired that kind of a capacity and capability.
And while we are, making these platforms, we are also including in that that these sensors and equipments which are developed locally are installed on that. So that actually what it does is actually gives you less of reliance. Our national policy of self-reliance, we are trying to follow that so as to have less, in case of, the sanctions and the history that we already know. So we are, that is one aspect of it. But then along the coast, there is so much potential of development of fisheries.
Oh, yes.
We are not even extracting
According to one
10%.
estimate, sir, $2.5 to $3 billion worth of export we can actually
Absolutely.
earn from them.
Yeah, with the development of this coastal highways, with the development of these ports at Giovanni, Pasni, Gwadar, Gormara, and all these coastal stations. Pakistan, what they have done, as the Admiral mentioned earlier, now to secure CPAC. Pakistan Navy is supposed to provide the seaward defense. When it comes to CPAC, you saw that Pakistan Navy has developed a coastal defense and harbor defense force. They have also developed, created a Task Force 88, which comprises of platforms, marines, and other UAVs, so that in case of any eventuality, any aggression, anything is, then they are able to counter that. So they have all the wherewithal to actually counter such threats.
But we will still remain a defensive force. We won't be an aggressive force, sir, when it comes to Navy.
Yeah, we should have a balance and a potent Navy. We should be able to defend our
In
sea
fact, it is
frontiers.
not only Navy. Our total defense policy is defensive.
Yeah, whether Air Force
we have,
or
whether Air Force, Army or Navy, we have a defensive policy. We want to defend our legitimate interest. That's it about. And we never had an
That's the
aggressive
policy guideline.
That is the policy guideline. We never had an aggressive policy, and we never are going to have one.
All right. Sir, let me go to Karachi now to have a word with Commodore UbaidUllah. Now, sir, talking about, we always used to appreciate Air Force, that, look at Air Force. This is the only Air Force in the world which is making its own planes. I mean, you talk about USA, either they're getting it from McDonnell Douglas or a couple of other companies like Boeing for that matter. But over here, I've visited, I've seen how JF-17 Thunder is made from scratch, from a sheet into a flying machine, sir. So what do you think, sir, about Navy? What sort of a future the Navy has in this particular regard? Because earlier, Admiral was telling us that now indigenous designs, indigenous making, so much is going on, sir, but we unfortunately are not that aware of it. Please throw light on that part, sir.
Yeah. I must say that you have really highlighted in your last remark that we are not aware and it is not highlighted. All the navies of the world operate away from the eyes, away from the real looks of people in general. Whenever armies operate on land, like Pakistan Army, you all have a look at it. Whenever F-16 gets airborne from Sargodha or Karachi, you can look and really it's roaring in the air.
Yes.
But you have not seen Pakistan Navy or any Navy, for that matter, how do they operate? How do they fire missile? How do they test their weapons and sensor? And through which rigorous training they go through. Because all navies are called silence forces. They operate silently. They wear white uniform. They project peace and they project something that is away from the normal eye of a human being. So really you do not know that. I would like to say a few things about this indigenization.
Please.
And then the subject of Gidani and subject of CPAC. Please allow me a little time
Please go ahead, sir.
I can give my views on these three subjects.
Please go ahead.
First of all, the indigenization. Karachi shipyard made a merchant ship called MV Al Abbas in 1962. That was the biggest ship ever built, merchant ship in Karachi shipyard, and that was inaugurated by late Admiral Field Marshal Ayub Khan. And from there onward, They have made various sizes and various capability of vessels, starting from boats to tugs to harbor craft to logistic ships to submarines to frigates, and now they are making the biggest tanker, as I earlier mentioned to you. At this particular time, as I'm talking to you, as I said, the biggest warship in terms of an oil tanker is being built, and it is in advanced stage, and it will be ready before time contract. We have already made, in collaboration with China, 3 guided missile frigate, and the next one is being made. We have already made missile boats, talk of the town, really state of the art, and another one is being made. We are at this time making a 1600 ton ship for Maritime Security Agency, and similarly one vessel right from the drawing board until its completion is being made 100% indigenously for Pakistan Navy.
And that's brilliant.
In terms of making things for other people, during Iran-Iraq war, we made 20 different vessels in Karachi shipyard and handed them over to Iran. So indigenization has been the hallmark of Pakistan Navy since it is a silent force. We work total with dedication and focused attention, and you are right, a lot of people do not know. This subject of awareness of maritime thing, this is really something, a real weakness of our nation. We are a maritime nation having 1,000 kilometers of coastline.
That's correct.
But unfortunately, from 1947 until today, our shipping, our fishing, our exploration of hydrocarbon, water sports, coastal development, etc., and I can name a lot of things that it has not happened like it has happened in many other countries of the world. This is because lack of awareness at the decision-making level in the country. Let's leave it there, and I told you about the indigenization. Let me say a few words on CPAC and as well as Gadani. CPAC is originally idea of Chinese president, one belt, one road. And in this one belt, one road, 50 countries are already participating in addition to Pakistan. But as very rightly said, that the jewel in the crown is Gwadar. All other are either rail link or road link into various countries. Gwadar is the only place which gives access internationally through the cheapest means, that is sea. So as far as CPAC is concerned in Gwadar, God has given such an important and strategic location to Pakistan that in the west of Pakistan are energy producer of the world, GCC countries and Iran, having oil and gas reserve bigger than anywhere else in the world. And to the east of Pakistan are the biggest consumer of energy, namely India, China, South Korea, and Japan. So they have to come to a place through Pakistan for coordination, for physical linkage. Imagine Pakistan having Tapi pipeline, peace pipeline from Iran, and both these pipelines are passing through and going to east to China, to Japan, to India, and serving all these nations. Imagine the economic activity it will have. The first step has been taken of building of 3,000 kilometers of road from Kashgar to Gwadar. Alongside, when the pipelines come into play, probably somebody will call Pakistan as Pipistan. They will have so many of pipes around here. Now, a few words about the Gadani. At this time in the whole world, there are 3 dominating countries and cities where the demolition of merchant ship is being made, and Pakistan is one of them. Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India. These are the three countries at this particular time. They have $300 per ton is the price of scrap, which is the highest in the world, followed by China, which has $150 per ton as of today and now. So this activity must remain at this level so that a lot of people get job, and 100 plots which are there in Gadani. Sometime I really think that it is purposely being made an issue over the activities which we are very profitably employing people and earning foreign exchange and earning per capita income in this particular industry. And somehow some very few people, because of the greed, not taking appropriate action and then bringing this industry to a standstill, where the other two competitors in Bangladesh, Chittagong, and along in India will take over this industry. They will be very happy to go along with it. Let us really give a very clear message that those at the helm of affair who are doing the scrapping in Pakistan must take appropriate action
I think,
that this industry remains functional.
The will of the government is really important, especially when you talk about it. Anyway, since I'm running out of time, but last quick couple of comments from Rao Sahab and then sir from you. Aman 17, sir. A great exercise, everybody appreciates it. Great initiative taken by Pakistan. It's held every second year. How do you relate this with the balance of power in the Indian Ocean, sir? Quick comments.
You see, this kind of exercise is not really to create a balance between Pakistan or India or Pakistan or any other country. As I said earlier, Pakistan Navy is a very small navy relative to India or the other big countries that are participating. But Pakistan Navy's professionalism and its stature because of its participation with other navies, that has created this opportunity that we have so many countries visiting us and participating in our exercises, Aman. So this kind of, but as far as the creating of balance is concerned, these kind of exercises do not create balance. This is not a military balance kind of exercise. This is a collaborative exercise. This is a different purpose, together for peace. This is not for war making. This is for peace making. And this to create, as you yourself mentioned, anti-terrorism, anti-piracy, and these are the kind of exercises that will be conducted. And so that is where,
for example, if there is a hostage situation, how to tackle that?
Exactly. Practically that will be done. Okay. So these are the kind of exercises that are conducted. You talked about a lot about this indigenization or the opportunities. Karachi shipyard, of course, it's very close to my heart. I have been there for 5 years. Is doing a fantastic job, and inshallah it will continue to do this and do that. But Karachi shipyard as an economic activity is a very, very small shipyard.
Needs to be extended.
It can't be extended.
Why? Why is that so?
Because that place is very limited.
Oh, okay.
You see, the thing is, but Pakistan has got great opportunity to get into this shipbuilding business. As I had talked to you long time earlier, the Gwadar is the right place. As we talk of, the entire world's oil flows off Gwadar. All the oil tankers,
it's a route. Just they come and they go.
This is the oil route. And when all those super tankers, they come to Gulf, they are all empty. And that is the only time when they can be repaired or maintained, etc. If we have that kind of facility over there, and Karachi shipyard maximum capacity is 26, let me just complete this thing, is 26,000 ton capacity, 26,000. What we are talking of is 600,000 deadweight tonnage capacity, etc. The shipyard at Gwadar and one at Port Qasim were approved by the government long time back. They are still approved in principle, lying on paper.
Nothing has happened.
It has to be implemented.
Sir, last quick comment from you.
Yeah, I think one of some aspect that we missed out basically, and I talked about the International Maritime Conference which is taking place It says strategic outlook in the Indian Ocean region, evaluating challenges and devising strategies. So this is a very big plus that we get from this exercise, where a number of foreign participants will be delivering their papers, will be devising evaluating these strategies and challenges. So that will be a good outcome of this exercise that we are doing.
And I'm sure there'll be a lot of visits, so it is going to be an eye-opener for them also. I think that is going to be really helpful
but
for Pakistan.
I think another biggest thing is that the projection of the positive image of Pakistan.
I think that's the key. That holds the key, sir.
Yeah.
Anyway, Admiral Saab, was a pleasure. So thank you very much. And thank you very much, Commodore UbaidUllah Saab in Karachi, sir, for participating in our show. And that's all we have for this Saab. I'll see you next week. Till then, you take good care of yourself. Have a great weekend. Khuda Hafiz.